and suddenly they gave me a Leonora Meletti. She was the number one celebrity at that time in that show.
wow.
So I ended up being like, it was like, that was the big explosion as well. Like being in
There we
front.
go. And then you can see questions coming up over there. So if you see a question you want to answer. So I wanted to talk to you because ballroom dancing and the sort of thing, when I met you maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I can't remember when.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, a while back. It wasn't really on my radar, but kind of after you had left, all of a sudden it was everywhere. I mean, it was the Dancing with the Stars shows, the everything. I want to talk to you because I thought it was just kind of so fascinating that it just kind of took off. But I want to know, how did you get into ballroom dancing?
Well, when I was young, I always I watched this movie called Salsa. I was around 15 and a half. So somehow inside of me, I always wanted to dance. Although my academic career is completely different from dancing, I always wanted to dance. So I find this dance studio there in Athens, and I go, I'm going to start how to dance. That's how we started. It was this movie called Salsa.
Oh, nice. And so you were born here though in the U.S., right? But
Yeah, I was
you're-
born in Maryland, Baltimore, and my parents moved back to Greece when I was 7 years old.
Oh, I see.
So it was a little hard transition there because the language, etc., in Athens. And then I moved back here in the States after I did my MBA here in Florida,
Oh, okay.
my master's
Oh,
degree.
nice.
But in the meantime, I was dancing, and I always loved to dance. And then finally, I decided to make it my career because it was my love, my passion. So I went all the way.
You did. You really did. And so did you? So you started in Greece, and then you did your academic. Let me get this out of the way.
It smells good, though.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does,
Can you move
doesn't
it
it?
over there to that side table, maybe? Yeah.
Put it inside.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you went. You came here. You did your studies, graduate, and all that stuff, and then you decided just kind of pursue.
In the
this.
meanwhile, I was dancing. The first thing, it was so funny because I came here for my master's degree in Palm Beach, Florida. And the first thing I found, because I was looking for a job as well, a regular job, because I used to consult businesses in Greece and work for some companies for that. And the first thing I looked was for a job and somewhere to teach or continue my dancing. So it was tough with the interviews with getting a regular job, but I found a studio in the first few days, and actually they really liked me, and they really wanted me. So suddenly I end up teaching and making money while I'm doing my master's degree with dancing, and suddenly I just see after a year and a half as a career, it just blowed up. It was like doing great, competitions everywhere and growing in the industry. So after I finished my master's, I just cared about dancing only.
Oh, fantastic.
That's how everything started.
And so this is, well, like I said, when I met you, it seemed, like I said, the ballroom dancing didn't seem to be on my radar, but after we had met and we had talked a little bit, and then you went back to Greece, I think.
The funny part is we had Dancing with the Stars here in the States. So it was like 2004, 2005. I always loved that show because I'm a dancer, right?
Yeah.
So I go in myself, if it ever goes to Greece, I want to take part. So I go for vacations in 2009 in Greece, and there was ads, Dancing with the Stars is coming to Greece. So I auditioned. I actually flew from Los Angeles for 2 nights in Greece just for the audition. And I returned back. After a week, they called me, you got the spot. So for Dancing with the Stars, I was so excited that time. I go, okay. So I had a bunch of lessons going on here. So I gave my students to other instructors in the meanwhile. So I go do the show in Greece.
Wow. So so that's when you went back. That's kind of around the time I met you, and then you go back. You're on Dancing with the Stars. It seems like it blew up, because everybody in Greece, like Froso and everybody pretty much I knew in Greece, knew you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they knew you, right, Froso?
She's like, yeah.
Yes. Is that here? Let's see. So is that right,
Yes.
Froso? You started following Dancing
Yes.
with the Stars, right? In Greece.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. I put her on the spot. Yeah, so because I have a cousin named Eva, and she's a ballroom dancer as well. I mean, not professionally, but she does local plays in Crete and things like that. And she knew you from Dancing with the Stars as well. So then I started thinking, wow, this is really big. And then I started watching it because
yeah.
it was like, wow, this is kind
The
of
Greek
interesting.
version or the American one? Oh,
The Greek
okay,
version,
that's cool,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. So, no, I mean, I would catch the American version, but I didn't know anybody in the American version.
Yeah, yeah.
But I knew you.
Yeah,
And so you had some interesting people that you were paired up with, because it's really like Greek celebrities would be on there and you were being paired with them, right?
Well, the show, it's all about having a celebrity and making her the best for each week, for each dance. And you have a very big responsibility. First Dancing with the Stars, I had Evgenia Manolidou, which because I lived in the States the last 10 years, I kind of didn't know much about who's the celebrity
Right.
there, who's not. So I heard she was the big name, so I got her, which was fine, but I was so into dancing. It doesn't matter, it's just into dancing. She ended up being a fantastic student. Evgenia was a fantastic student, and we worked so well together, and she went all the way. It was a great season, the first one.
Yeah, I know there were a couple of celebrities that now all of a sudden my notes are upstairs.
Well,
and
the
I'm gonna
next
go
one
get
was
them,
Eleonora Meletti. She was my second season. So what happens is, the show ends, I fly back to the States. I come here, I have lost most of my students because I've been missing for 3 months. So long story short, I build up new clientele, but it was so fun to do it. Second year, the second season, I go, I'm going to do it again. So again, I prepare my students. I go, listen, I'm going to leave next season. I'm going to do it once more. They were so supportive, So I leave, and suddenly they give me a Leonora Meletti. She was the number one celebrity at that time in that show.
wow.
So I end up being like, it was like, that was the big explosion as well. Like being in front pages in magazines, People magazine.
Sure.
I didn't expect that, and I didn't chase that. I just love to dance, and I loved the show. So in the end of that season, I go, okay, this is big. I mean, I have to decide if I'm going to live in the States or I'm going to leave to Greece, because I had job offers there. Although the crisis started,
Oh,
the financial crisis, the same time.
right.
So it was a very, very conscious decision, and I say, I'm moving back to the States. I'm not coming back. It was great till I did it. Great portfolio I made. This is it. Because every time I came back to the States, I ended up losing a lot of my students. So I had to
Right.
build back
You gotta
my
start
clientele. So I ended up not participating on the show until 2014-15, where I go to a trip to Greece, and my father was in the last stage of cancer.
Oh.
And I see him on summer, and all my friends from the States that we went together for vacations that summer told me, if you don't come to Greece, you're never going to see him again. So the production kept on calling me every season to take part. So in end of 2014, I take the decision to go and do it one more time, be around my family, and do the show. So I did it, and he passed away after a month. I went there, so I'm lucky. I saw him for a month.
Right.
And so I invested time, energy, and money there for teaching and building my clientele in Greece, because there was so much going on after a death. There's so
Yeah,
much, the
sure.
inheritance, the
Right,
lands,
right.
the copa de la Jorafia, the this and that. So I didn't know anything about that. So I had to stay there and take care of the stuff.
Wow, that's yeah. We all go through losing parents and things like that eventually. But man, it's you got the crisis, you got your dad, you've got you're trying to decide whether you're going to be living in Greece, living in the U.S., and you're competing.
That was the
stuff.
toughest decision,
Yeah,
because I love America. I love California. I love to live here. I really love it. I mean, I also emotional attached with Greece because I had a lot of friends and
Sure.
my family's there. But California matches much more, I think, my
Right.
personality. So after that, I did another 2 seasons of Dancing with the Stars with Elisabeth Spanu and Penelope Anastasopoulou, the last one. And then I kind of created the road to come back where the crisis came.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pandemic. So
Pandemic, right?
this is where we are.
Oh my God! So, now you're. Before we get into you being here and teaching and things like that, because I want you to talk about that a little bit too. I want to kind of, there's what I, not being a dancer, and my son Nick over there is the dance director for the Greek dance group at St. Basil's Greek Orthodox Church. So he teaches Greek dance, but he took ballroom dancing while he was at USC.
Wow, that's
as
great.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I met my girlfriend.
Actually, you have to tell me a little about it. Who was your instructor, et cetera, et cetera. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
yeah.
Okay,
It's
good.
like I tried to talk him into. I said, "Put a little salsa on. Let's just see. We'll get a critique from a professional." But I didn't realize because we have artists on the show and people that are in theater or music and it was until I started watching you on the show going back a decade on Dance with the Stars. I didn't really appreciate the true art form that's involved in it, because it the artistic expression that's involved in it, and it blew me away, and I just loved it. And I was thinking as I was kind of preparing for this, did you? You were teaching celebrities, right? You had these celebrities as students. Did you run across one that was just natively, like, bam, right there? Oh, wow, this person is takes direction real easily, very athletic, very just, I can really take her to places in dance in this art.
Yeah, well, talent is one thing, but mostly talent is about 4%, I would say, in my opinion. Yeah, 96% is all the system, the method, trying to grow their advantages and kind of hide in brackets
I
the
see.
disadvantages and sell her as best as you can. All my celebrities, the most important thing is to your student to believe on you and listen to you. And once you have this communication, you can make them the best. Once you have somebody, even it doesn't have to be a celebrity, like somebody that doesn't listen to you or doesn't believe in you, or this is where we have some hard time. So it's all about their personality, being able to accept somebody being their teacher suddenly, and you have to follow these guidelines. And most of them did it very, very well.
Wow. All right. That was very, very good answer because, it's like you don't want to alienate anybody either.
Actually, you can be a fantastic dancer, for example. Although, yeah. And I, from my experience with dancing, I've seen 80%, maybe less. This is mine, of course, about percentage. It's all about working on their way of thinking. You can teach a step, and then some people have ADHD, depression, anxiety, and they cannot do the step because we have to fix that part first. So we go in a process of training the brain to be able to react correctly the moment we want it, and that's the magic. And once they do correct dancing, correct ballroom dancing, you see their life changes psychologically, emotionally, methodically. School for kids they improve great.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a whole system and method how you train the brain to act, because it's hard to control the body.
Right.
The body doesn't have brain; it's just muscles,
Right.
And you have to really be patient and train and know how to deal with that body. The brain. It's a system. It's magic.
Wow. Well, when I've watched you, I watched you perform many times, but then, but I also noticed that you've put together students as teams, and you guys have traveled to different parts of the world and competed, right?
one of the most one of the biggest part of ballroom dancing is competitions. So the students, in order to improve, it's like tennis. You
Yeah.
play tennis, and sometimes your teacher, your instructor might tell you, "I want to see you playing a game." So you start playing a game so you can see and observe. The same thing with dancing. Once you have a student, it's fantastic and beautiful to put in a dance floor and compete against the other ladies or other guys of their categories. They dress well, the hair, makeup, and that's a way of improving their dancing. It's not necessarily to do it, but most of the time we travel the world and we compete on the best competitions in the world.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I saw you guys in Moscow. Well, Moscow was the one that really kind of.
Yeah, Moscow Bowl, one of the biggest
Yeah.
comps we've been. Last year we went to Athens, to Holland, and we went to Italy, Serbia, we went to Rome, we've been to Paris, World Championships, to Greece, many competitions all over the States, England, so many competitions, and it's fantastic for the students because they change their lifestyle too.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
sport that you do it.
Yeah,
with.
oh, yeah.
And there's no age, guys. There's no age limit. We have ladies from 4 years old to 94 years old, and there's no experience needed. We can make you the best you can be.
That's fantastic. Like I said, to me, I look at this and it's such an art. It's an art form, and you do the choreography, right? You put all this together, and to me, there's a level of, from somebody watching from the outside in, there's like this tremendous level of complexity
Yeah.
that I see in it. That's so impressive. But then there's also there's the artistic part of it that goes into it, and I thought to myself that, okay, this guy is over here and he's creating this art not only for himself, that something that you experience personally, but also something that you're kind of getting this team to be able to do as well. And I thought that was so impressive. But then I started thinking about what it means to be an artist in this type of art form, and how many times you must go through the creative process and then have to abandon it because the limitations maybe of a student, or because of or maybe just didn't look right or whatever. And I just found that the way that the artistic mind works, to be able to do that, because I'm not an artistic person, I'm more of an engineer. But there's something that engineers and artists have in common, and that's this first principles, or what I call burning the things you love. To make steps forward, you have to abandon the things that you're used to, that you may have found success in the first place. You may have to say, okay, I'm pushing myself now to the next level, to another. I got to get past that boundary, so I have to abandon what I've done. I was thinking, do you go through that? Do you go through that?
Yeah, a lot, because most of the students that let's say they don't have it, or they don't have rhythm. It's not about they don't have rhythm or timing. It's suppressed. It's suppressed. So there was a psychologist for kids he said all children grow up with tempo. As you grow up, it gets suppressed. Depends to your family, how you grow up, social. So we bring that out.
I
So
see.
they're a suppressed part of its person that we need to bring them and enrich them, so they can dance better and feel better and express better.
Wow. Yeah, you got there's a lot to what you do, and like I said, that kind of that artistic expression always fascinates me, because it the achievements that you have to go through to.
Well, it's magic because each person is completely different from the other. So usually you have to understand in what group the mindset of that student is, and to adjust a little bit to it, so you can orient it, direct it to the right direction, slowly. It's not like a piece you just say the same thing to everybody and whatever goes. I adjust to the student, understand the student as much as possible, and try to move forward. And then you build her, and suddenly you see results you couldn't believe.
Well, you're doing something right. Because it's like,
you
yeah.
know, the biggest question like I had in Greece was, okay, Eleonora or Evgenia or this or Penelope or whoever, they had formal dance lessons, right? They were. I go no. No, there's something tricky there. I go no. It's just we spend hours and hours together, working hard.
And getting past those mental blocks, and there's a lot of psychology to what you
A
do.
lot of psychology. A lot of psychology. And the more disciplined somebody is, the more easier it is.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, and so now you're in the U.S. And you're probably going to stay here a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. I'm starting now to build my clientele back. So I want new students to start teaching and start building and grow them for dancing here in Orange County.
So you're where's your studio?
I'm going to be teaching out of 2 locations in Laguna Hills and Newport Beach. So depending to the students where they are located, they can choose the location they prefer.
And you're are you teaching for kind of like the? Are you teaching students that want to experience just the joy of it, or are you also teaching them to be able to compete?
Everything.
Everything.
Competing is emerge. You don't press anybody to do anything. Eventually, they ask for it. In the beginning say, oh, I'm not going to compete. Oh, and the hardest thing for each student is to walk in that studio or call me and say, my first lesson. That's the hardest part. They think maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not talented enough. I have no rhythm, self-confidence. And this is what we make. We take you and we change your life.
Wow. Well, that to me is just an amazing process. That the journey that you take people through. You know, this artistic expression, and yeah, that's fantastic. So now we'll put some links in for your fan page or for how people can get a hold of you.
That would be great.
Yeah,
That would be
because
great.
So there's you know, if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube, we'll put in the location of the studios and how you can get a hold of Elias. But no, that's great. Anything else you want to share with us?
No,
Afternoon.
it was great that I came here as a guest. I loved it. I didn't expect
thank
that all this thing is going on, and it's great. So, and I'm very excited to be back in Orange County and start dancing again. That's it.
Wow, we're excited to have you, and we're grateful that you're back, and we get to see you again because it's been honestly, I think it's been a decade since the last time I saw you. It's been a long time.
I know it.
Yeah.
And it's hard times now with the coronavirus, so we try to keep every lesson safe as much as possible. So we keep every hygiene precaution, so nobody should be worrying to take dance lessons at this time of year.
So there you have it, folks. You know, you have Elias Ladas from Dancing with the Stars, the Greek edition, here with us, and you have him here locally. Well, you know, we have
depending on
where you
are.
live, because it just occurred to me the people that I see up there are living everywhere from Melbourne to Thessaloniki, but we're so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And this is Bob, and there's Aurora, and another episode. It's either episode 29 or 30.
We don't remember.
We don't remember. George is going to work it out for us and figure it out. But hey, thank you for joining us. Kalos Vrikame, and we will see you next week. Yasas.
Yes, us.